So I want to give you a quick walk through my Xpress boats. I got the boat back in September. I got it all rigged and ready to go fishing in September 21, and so I wanted to run the boat for about 6 months before I actually did a walkthrough and review, because I don't like to review things. I always have manufacturers and different people we work with, they want, as soon as you open a package, to go do a review on it. I like to actually use the product for quite a while before I kind of go through and give my experiences with it. So I've been delaying doing this for a while for a specific reason. I wanted to run the motor for 6 months because the new Yamaha show was brand new in August last year. I'm running the new LiveScope Plus. I've got some new electronics, so I've got new things on the boat that I wanted to use with the boat before I went and did a whole walkthrough of how I fish and how I've set my boat up. But here's a quick run through of the boat and my experiences with it thus far. So I went with a white boat with silver lettering. I did kind of a custom design with a white boat, and then I wanted tan sea deck in the interior. And sea deck's a really neat material. It's like almost like a memory foam, a little more rigid than that, but you can design patterns, put logos in it. I got like a measuring board on my deck. Went with kind of a wood grain finish. I thought the wood grain with the white came out really awesome. But yeah, the sea deck was a big factor in me making the switch. I wanted sea deck in my next boat, and Xpress does such a great job with sea deck on their boats. It was a natural fit. You can buy all these add-on components from sea deck. That little fish pad, I'll hang hooks, baits I'm using that day, I'll just hang them on that pad. I got a measuring board put into the design of my sea deck, but you can also order them after the fact and stick them onto carpet or other sea deck installs. It's just a really neat material. You can put these little pads around the boat for steps, and so you have good traction on a slick boat. If you're considering sea deck, I highly recommend you reach out and contact them. And then for my motor, I went with the Yamaha SHO, the new one that came out last year. It's an amazing 4-stroke. This is my first 4-stroke outboard, so that was a big change for me as well. But couldn't be happier with the performance, the whole shot, the top speed, just how it handles. And then, of course, you've got to have a T&H Atlas jack plate to get up in shallow water and to get your boat balanced perfectly while you're running down the lake. So as I've said, I'm running an Xpress boat. This is the X21 Pro, 21 feet, lots of deck space. So you'll see in some of my other clips that I've shot, I actually bought the Millennium Sidekick for the front, and I can put 2 full-size chairs so 2 of us can sit side by side or live scope and fish for crappie. And there's enough room up there. You can both be sitting up there. Guy catches a fish, you can swivel in between, get up, walk back here, throw a fish in the live well. And have plenty of space to move around and not get in each other's way. So I was pleasantly surprised with how big this boat fishes. That was one thing I was afraid of, going from fiberglass to aluminum. My history with aluminum was, I was in tracker boats and some of the smaller aluminums, without decks and carpets, and grew up fishing in those. And so I was a little hesitant with going back to an aluminum boat, but when I got in this Xpress X21, I had fished with Bill Lowen and a couple other guys, was kind of blown away by how well the boat drove, how much storage space there was, how big the front fished, how shallow a water I could get in, how shallow water I could get up in, because I'm kind of a guy that I don't go to one place and sit there and fish all day. I like to get up and down 50 times a day, running the spots, hitting little sweet stretches, and then running to the next one. I don't just stay hunkered down in an area for a long time. So I wanted a boat that could get up and down a bunch of times really fast, get back into some skinny places, not have to worry about if I wanted to beach the boat, if I wanted to take the boat to sink brush. I wanted to be able to do all of those things. So I was real fortunate to work with the folks at Xpress and Yamaha, and I'll go ahead and say I bought this boat. I bought the motor. It wasn't given to me. I'm not on a note deal, but they were great to work with through this whole process. I'll kind of go through the features of this boat and how I have it laid out, and kind of give you my experiences with it. So on the front deck, I've got a 12-inch Garmin That's a GPS map, 1242. I like the GPS map because I can do the active captain and use the helm feature to record some of my live scope screens. I actually am running the new LiveScope Plus system. I've had it for about 6 weeks. I'll have a separate video on that with my experiences with that. But in the front of this Xpress, we've got this tray, holds our tools. It's got a cup holder for a drink. I like to keep like a lot of the baits that I'm using that day, bags of plastics, jig heads, whatever. Recessed foot pedal. Got the trolling motor mounted up in the front. I got a trim switch up in the front. Like I said, I'll either use a single lean-to seat or a double seat rig if I'm crappie fishing. That's one thing about my boats. The last couple of years, I've been rigging my boats out to crappie fish and bass fish. I've gotten into crappie fishing a lot more the last couple of years, just with the kind of the downturn in bass fishing on Kentucky Lake. So this boat is packed full of crappie gear and packed full of bass gear, and it's easily adjustable to be able to fish for both species without a problem. So I can, be geared up to go bass fishing, get on a crappie bite or a crappie pattern, and switch gears on the water and start fishing for the other species. So I do that regularly. Probably my favorite part of this boat is the storage. So I'll start with the middle compartment. I got probably 30 combos, maybe more, packed in there. I've got 8-foot swim bait rods in there. I've got 12 and 15 foot long crappie rods. I've got tons of crappie spinning setups. I've got all kinds of bait casting setups, but it's just a massive storage compartment. Like I say, I could jam another probably 20 combos in there if I wanted, but I've got plenty of stuff in the boat now to cover all the bases. They did a good job padding these corners to kind of quiet the metal lids. They've got the nice hydraulic hinges there, so it's a nice, easy, quiet opening and closing. Latches are easy to use. On this right side, I've got 2 small compartments. This is kind of my catch-all compartments. In here, I have a lot of tools. I've got stuff for filming with cameras. I've got extra rags and stuff. I'll keep extra hats, maybe some apparel. I've got a dry bag in here with my paperwork and stuff like that. I've got different tripods and mounts. In the front compartment, it's mostly life jackets and rain gear. I think I've got a rope thrown in there too. So as I go forward in the boat, I try to keep what's in the front of the boat light. So those compartments don't have very much weight in it. The rod compartment doesn't have very much weight in it. And then this big left compartment was perfect for tackle. And I kind of set this up a certain way where I've got a tray sitting in the bottom. And with that tray, I can put a bunch of boxes in the tray, keep them all organized, but then I also have space on either side where I can put a bunch of bags. So I've got, on the right side, I've got my Bass Mafia Bud bags that have my spinner baits, my jigs, my chatter baits. In the middle, I've got some of these Busby boxes. That's a big bulk box of all the different crankbaits I might need in the spring. Here I've got all my flat sides, and then, a big, huge box of lipless crankbaits. Then I've got, terminal tackle box, lots of jig head boxes, a jerkbait box, a bunch of crappie boxes. I've got little packs of terminal tackle over to the side, jig heads, whatnot. I've got, the loose plastics that I'm fishing with, I kind of keep in this little cubby of this compartment here. I can keep it kind of all in one little area. And then my bulk plastics I keep in Bass Mafia bags. Swim baits I'll keep in their clamshells. Miscellaneous plastics I'll just throw in these bigger bags. I've got extra crappie plastics in that bag. Then I have that's my day box for crappie fishing. It works real nice to throw a bunch of jig heads, a bunch of plastics that they're hitting on right now. Just throw them in that day box and go. You can keep it on the front deck while you fish. Console of the Xpress is awesome. I've got my RPM trim gauge. I've got that T&H Atlas gauge over there. I've got another 12-inch. This is a touch 12-inch GPS map unit, the 1243. It's mounted on a precision sonar bracket. Over here I've got my gas gauges and my pressure gauge, and then of course I've got my accessory panel over here for lights, aerators, bilge, all that kind of stuff. Nice console setup. I also like that they do a good job under these seats. I've got scales, extra buffs, hats, measuring, like crappie measuring cups, extra sunglasses. Middle compartment can be a cooler. I use it kind of an extra storage space. I've got a trash can in there to keep up with all our trash for the day. Of course, that's a step, and then you can flip it up to be a third seat. Storage over here, same kind of thing. I've got lots of towels, ropes. I've got a battery charger in there. I've got my DD26 mounted there for spooling in the boat. It just kind of flips down, you put a spool on it, flips back up. Cup holder. Got a C-deck pad. There's C-deck throughout the boat, and then I've got these pads placed in different places in the boat where I can hang baits that I'm using that day. Of course, that's my main cooler there in the front. My bump board right there is stowed away where it won't ever come loose. So really an awesome console layout in this boat. And then working my way back to the back of the boat, of course I've got my live wells, divided live wells. Divider comes out pretty easy. You can make one big live well. If you're hunting real big fish, you can easily fit them in here. I've already fished a bunch for panfish, for crappie, for bass. Gone swim bait fishing, thrown some big ones in here. Just I'll take the divider out when I'm going to do that. Otherwise, I keep the dividers in. It's all the pumps work great. All my fish stay alive. I've not had a single issue with that, so I really am happy with the live well setup. Then we move to this middle compartment, and it flips open, and then you'll see this. There's this nice storage tray in here that pops out. I've got my trolling motor wires are up under here, and so if I can find a little catch here, I just turn the breaker on for my trolling motor. I've already got the breaker on for the big motor, and so I'm running a standard gel battery, deep cycle battery, just to never start. That's my cranking battery. And then this is my first year running lithiums. So I've run 3 12-volt 100 amp Dakota lithium batteries for my trolling motor. And then I run a single battery here on its own breaker system so I can cut the power off. This is just for my electronics. So that runs my live scope, 2 graphs, heading sensor, all of that kind of stuff. I can trip the breaker to cut my electronics off. And I'll just say, like, the Dakota and lithium batteries, I'm kicking myself for not going lithium sooner. I'll fish all day on these batteries, and it's been windy this spring. I'll go all day, bring the boat home, put it in the storage, hook up the chargers, and within like an hour and a half, 2 hours, the batteries are completely charged. I think you could go 2 or 3 days without having to charge the batteries. Of course, I don't do that. I'm not wired that way. I've got to charge my batteries and keep them at full charge 100% of the time, or I don't feel like I'm doing it right. So, but yeah, I've been blown away at how well these batteries charge, how strong they are, how little power they use throughout the day. I am so happy with these batteries. I had heard some horror stories about lithium. I did my research and decided I was going to do it this year, and I'm running 4 lithium batteries. I'm waiting to get one of the Minn Kota precision lithium chargers. Right now I'm just charging with Dakota's chargers. So I do have to hook up 5 chargers at the end of the day, but it takes me 5 minutes to get everything on a charger. And like I say, in 2 hours, all of my batteries are charged and I'm ready to go for the next day. So that's basically it for my boat. Like I say, I made the big switch last summer, got it all rigged and ready for fishing in September. So only got it out a handful of times in the fall last year, and then the winter, the same kind of, was only probably 4 or 5 trips over the winter. But then starting in February, I started going a bunch more, and so I've had it out, I don't know, 20, 30, maybe more than 30 times now. Couldn't be happier with my choice. You know, I don't flip boats every year, so when I pick a boat, I put a lot of thought into it because I plan to run that boat for 4 or 5 years. So, you know, once I saddle up with a partner on a boat, I want to be in that boat for quite a while. So again, that's kind of why I've waited to do the review. I wanted to run this boat in rough water. I wanted to get it in shallow water. I wanted to fish out deep. I wanted to fish shallow. I wanted to go to several different fisheries. So I've been able to do all of that now. I'm super happy with it. It tows so great. That's one of my biggest improvements is the towing on this boat. That's been awesome on this boat. Fuel economy's been a lot better towing this boat, and that was a big thing to me because I wanted to travel more the next several years fishing. So that's one of the big things that led me to go with aluminum. I've beached it on the bank. I do have a keel guard on it. I went ahead and put a TH gator guard on the front. I run a hydraulic TH jack plate. I think that's a necessity, especially on an aluminum boat where weight matters and balancing on the boat, you know. So you kind of saw as I went through the compartments, I've got like heavy swim bait jig heads, heavy terminal tackle behind my passenger seat. I've got all my other tackle along that left side on the passenger side. That's because when I'm running the boat, I'm on the right side, and I'm a big guy. I mean, I'm 6'1" and weigh close to 300 pounds. So when I'm running, you know, on my side, I'm going to cause the boat to list a little bit to the right. Well, if I weight it evenly on the other side across from me, keep the weight out of the nose of the boat, then I get a better riding boat. Gets up on pad really easy. So that's been a benefit for me. Like I say, I'm super excited to be running this boat. I've had such a good experience so far. It's already a really fishy boat. I've caught a bunch of fish in it already. Looking forward to having it for the full year this year. Like I say, it's just now getting to spring on Kentucky Lake. The water's in the bushes. It's prime time, so we'll go see if we can catch some fish.